Oh boy, a brand new Jinjer album. I'm so excited. I'm so pumped because there's such a unique and clever and popular band. So pumped. So extremely 100% pumped. Definitely have not been dreading this, not even a little bit. Today we're talking about Wallflowers, the fourth studio album from Ukrainian progressive groove metal band Jinjer. And in case you were somehow confused by my tone before, allow me to make myself perfectly, transparently fucking clear. I am not a big fan. I mean, I don't hate Jinjer per se. I don't even really dislike them. I just really don't understand why there is constantly so much buzz, so much hype, so much anticipation surrounding literally every single thing they do. Their sound can usually be described as a somewhat bland but competent crockpot of influences from Sixth, Lamb of God, Meshuggah, some gent bands like Periphery and Veil of Maya. I would argue unintentionally, but nonetheless that they come dangerously close to the smorgasbordian extreme metal of a band like Immortal Bird at times, albeit with more melodic hooks and clean singing. It's a lot of breakdowns, it's a lot of proggy passages, a lot of weird angular soundscapes kind of interplaced at random to make you feel anxious and nervous and whoa, this is so weird and so trippy and cool. Oh my god. And I'm sorry if this comes across as being kind of crude and dickish, but I feel it needs to be said. I think a lot of y'all are loving Jinjer as much as you are simply because of Tatiana. Like, Metal Trench has made a comment in his Wallflowers album review that Tatiana is kind of like the Beyonce of metal at this point, and I think he was half joking, but honestly, he's also half telling the truth because people fucking idolize and worship this woman. So yeah, I wasn't especially pumped going into this record, to put it bluntly, and while I did have more fun with Wallflowers than I expected, I still ultimately wasn't especially pumped coming out of it either. I do think it starts off really strong with the track Call Me a Symbol. It's one of the most aggressive and explosive cuts on the record, kind of balancing the piss and vinegar, groove-laden metal of a band like Lamb of God with the more technical, extreme buffoonery of a band like Immortal Bird. Vocally, Tatiana is pretty strong across the entire album, albeit for a few choruses here and there, which we'll address later. But on this particular number, she sounds fucking vicious. This is, without question, the most pissed off, the most hungry, the most bloodthirsty she has ever sounded on any Jinjer song. The band are able to briefly keep this momentum going via the next two tracks, Colossus and Vortex, both of which are cram-packed with genuinely unpredictable, progressive, groove-laden passages and some more disgusting vocals from Tatiana. Colossus in particular stands out as maybe one of my favorite cuts on the record. There are some really big, nasty, bass-heavy grooves all over this thing. The breakdowns, especially near the end, are just filthy. But unfortunately, this genuine carnage and energy is brought to a screeching halt with Disclosure. It's just an awkward cut with a lot of really weak fucking melodies and riffs. Tatiana is, generally speaking, much better at harsh vocals than she is at clean vocals, but this particular number has some of her worst singing to date. She, honest to God, sounds like some freak fusion of M Shadows and Britney Spears. I am just not vibing with this at fucking all. And unfortunately, from here on out, a lot of this material just kind of bleeds together into one never-ending clump of generic proggy breakdowns. The album becomes very repetitive, very formulaic, very one-dimensional, very fucking quickly, and as a result, it grows to be very fucking boring, at least for me. I can see every so-called twist and turn from a mile away before it's even telegraphed, let alone before it even fucking happens. Now, thankfully, the title track Wallflower and the closing number Mediator do enough to briefly recapture my attention. I like how moody and intimate Wallflower is, and its lyrics of isolation and mental health issues feel somewhat poignant right now. And Mediator just straight up fucking slaps. It's not especially clever in my opinion, but thankfully it makes up for that by being cram-packed, nay overflowing, with tight riffs and percussive beatdowns. But even between these two cuts, you have some really lackluster material. As I Boil Ice in particular is just a really, really sloppy cut. When I first sat down and really thought about how I felt about this album, I realized that ultimately of the 11 tracks on this thing, I only consistently thoroughly liked 5 of them. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm pretty sure if I got a 5 out of 11 on a math test, don't think my dad would have taken me out for ice cream, you know? I don't think so. I'm giving this thing a 2.5 out of 5. I don't hate it by any stretch. I don't even really dislike it. I'm just really still not seeing what is so goddamn magical about Jinjer. There are some great songs like Colossus and Vortex, Call Me a Symbol, Mediator, but there are so many other songs that are just so poorly written. So many other songs that are so repetitive and just so forgettable and boring. For me, this album is like the sonic equivalent to a drunken one-night stand. Briefly entertaining in the heat of the moment, but not especially fulfilling, and something I'll probably forget about the moment I sober up. I'm willing to bet that the die-hard Jinjer fanbase is going to fall head over heels in love with this thing. I'm willing to bet by this point in the video may have already left a nasty comment or two telling me that I'm full of shit, I don't know what I'm talking about, and whatever. More fucking power to you, dude. If you can find something in this album to love, more fucking power to you. But I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that we're having the same experience just because Jinjer is the talk of the fucking town. That's just not my thing. I pride myself on being as honest as possible 100% of the time, no exceptions whatsoever. And the honest truth today is I'm just not digging this album, or at least not consistently digging every single moment of this album. To newcomers who are interested, I would say check out the few tracks that I've highlighted, that I've praised repeatedly through this video, but the rest of it you can probably skip, to be honest. 2.5 out of 5, it's okay, alright? It's totally fine. Whatever. The Jinjer fan base is one of the most passionate out there, so should be interesting to see how the comment section turns out. Luckily, as you can see, I am more than prepared. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this album? Do you not like this album? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown immediately in case you somehow aren't already. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.